Hi again. Hi. Uh, oh, hi. There we go. We just started again. That's a bit weird when it does that. My name's Therese. I don't know if you're joining me for the first time. Hello. Not many people watch mine, but that's okay because I do this for me rather than anybody else. But I hope that occasionally somebody sees these and gets a good giggle out of them. Sorry about the headband today. Having a bad hair day. Really couldn't be bothered with it. So, and now the phone's ringing. Oh well. Today I'm going to do another book review, as you can see from the title, and it is, even though that's backwards, it's Gulliver's Travels. Um, you know, when COVID, the disease that no longer exists apparently, hit, I set myself a task of reading a book a month of books that I've always wanted to read, but never made the time to. And instead of watching the interminable dross that is the reality TV that we have on free to air these days, and the rubbish that seems to be just spilled out of social media, I decided to find these books. I find them in op shops or thrift shops. I thrift them for like $1, 50 cents, sometimes 20 cents. And then when I finish reading them, I make up charity bags and I just throw one of those in, in case they go to disadvantaged children is what I make these up for. So they have a book, whether they read it or use it to start a fire. No judgment here, but that's what happens to them. And today, this last book that I've read, well, I'm just about finished another one, but that's a whole other story that I'll get to next week. Um, Gullivers Travels. Now I realise there have been a number. I think one movie was made by Ted Danson, with Ted Danson as Gulliver, but the last one was made with Jack Black. And most of the time, sorry, itchy nose. Most of the time when they make movies, there is no correlation between the movie and the book, except the name, the title. It's just awful. And if you've read the book, you really wish you hadn't have gone and seen the movie. In this case, if you've seen the movie, don't read the book. Don't do it. Do yourself a favor. It's just, it seems that all the books that are written in this kind of genre, in this kind of time, are all shipwreck books, and they're all kind of the same thing. And Gulliver's Travels is no different. He's on a ship, he gets wrecked, he ends up in Lilliput, the one with the small people, and he, has a series of adventures in Lilliput, and then he finds out there's a plot to do him evil, and I'm like, they're the size of your finger. Just squash them. Nobody's killing you when you are when they're the size of your finger and your regular sized 6 foot man. I think that, but it's a book. It's a book, and it was, so we'll go past that. And I think if they had just if Jonathan Swift had, yeah, I know I had to go and check that. Mm. If he had just written about Gulliver's Travels and Lilliput and then finished there and sent him back home, I think this would have been quite a nice little children's book, because there's no death, doom, and destruction, and there's no kind of awful bits. He's just kind of ends up on the shore and captive and blah, blah, blah. But then he's set, after a series of, lemony snickets, unfortunate events, um, he ends up on, a rival island to the Lilliputians, and they set him free, and he sails off into the ocean, and that's great. But then he is shipwrecked again and ends up being the little teeny tiny person in a land of giants. And basically that's the Lilliput story all over again, but in reverse. And that's it's really unnecessary. It's really unnecessary. And apparently, Dave said that he thought that there was a third part of the book about the land of horses or some nonsense. I'm like, oh Christ, I'm glad I didn't get that version, because two bad stories were bad enough. But it was all right. It was all right. Dave said that he thinks my problem is with some of these books is they're perfectly acceptable if you don't know any better. If you don't know any better and you're just reading this, but I've read some of the classics, Orson Welles and George Orwell and W.C. Fields and Jane Austen and the Bronte sisters and all of these kind of great literary classics, Keats and who is a poet, I know that. But I've read Keats and Byron. Maybe he's not such a good example, but yeah, no, he's very good. Just as a person, he was less than. Yeah, let's just move on. So yeah, as a book, yeah, okay, it's okay. If you're going on holidays and you're stuck at a train station and you're at a thrift store and in a free library, I can't even talk today. By all means, grab it and go for it, but don't actually pay money for this. Don't look on the internet or go to a bookshop and go, $37.95. This sounds great. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not a great idea. But anyway, that is the entirety of my book report today. Not a long one, but I've been away. I've been dealing with a massive crisis that's happened down in Victoria at my parents' property when we had those massive storms. So I am a bit doolally today. And I really wanted to do this because I haven't made a podcast for quite a while. And I just thought, oh, I've got to say that. But the book that I've got that I'll be finished next week. Yep, that's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. So yes, but have a great week. Have a good weekend. I'm off to a football themed 50th birthday party. Should be great. Making everything out of it. All right. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.